Hi everybody, I'm Ryan, and today we're going to talk about red-green aggro in Pioneer and different nuances regarding this deck. They are play patterns that you might need to know about before you pick up the deck, or if you've been playing the deck for a while, play patterns you might want to know about if you haven't yet. Let's do it. First off is remembering Valiant in Heartfire Hero and Emberheart Challenger. There's a ton of ways to trigger Valiant and making Heartfire Hero much bigger so that it can attack for much more, and then when it dies, deal that much more damage. And Emberheart Challenger allows you to become a Howling Mine. There's a lot of ways to trigger Valiant. Some of the more obvious ways would be like Monstrous Rage, would be Reckless Rage, would be Bushwhack, would be Snakeskin Veil. Just as spells to make Heartfire Hero bigger and to draw, or not draw cards, but exile cards so you can play them with Emberheart Challenger. But also Manifold Mouse allows you to target every single turn without spending a card or spending any mana. And same thing with Innkeeper's Talent. So remember those cards, and capitalizing on Heartfire Hero growing and getting more cards off of Emberheart Challenger every turn is a super important aspect of this deck. Next up is Screaming Nemesis. So Screaming Nemesis obviously makes it hard to block, being able to deal damage to the opponent, make sure they don't gain life, but also remember that you can Reckless Rage Screaming Nemesis to deal 2 damage to Screaming Nemesis, 4 damage to something else, which means that something else likely dies, and then that 2 damage that is dealt to Screaming Nemesis can also be dealt to a creature or to the opponent and make them not gain life. So Reckless Rage can end up being like a 2-for-1 / 3-for-1 when used in combination with Screaming Nemesis. And similar thing with Burst Lightning. If you're just going to Burst Lightning your opponent, you might as well Burst Lightning the Screaming Nemesis and make it so they can't gain life for the rest of the game. Speaking of Reckless Rage, it's important to remember that nearly every creature we have, Reckless Rage won't kill when we deal damage to it. Heartfire Hero, as long as it's already been triggered once in a previous turn, the Heartfire Hero trigger will resolve before Reckless Rage resolves, and so it won't die. Monastery Spear Prowess will trigger before Reckless Rage, so it won't die. Same thing with Emberheart Challenger. Questing Druid's in a similar vein as Heartfire Hero. As long as it's been triggered once, then it's totally okay. And we've already talked about Screaming Nemesis. And so Reckless Rage becomes a reasonably unconditional removal spell as long as you fulfill those very easy conditions. Also, most red-green decks are running some amount of Thud. This is mostly to capitalize on Monstrous Rage, off of making a creature very big, dealing a bunch of damage, and then thudding and destroying our opponent. But it's extra good with Heartfire Hero. If we have a big Heartfire Hero, maybe we pump it up with a Monstrous Rage and have a bunch of triggers over the course of the past few turns. We attack our opponent, maybe it's 7 power, we deal 7 damage, and then we can Thud to fling that Heartfire Hero at the opponent, deal another 7, trigger Heartfire Hero, deal an additional 7. It is just ridiculous, and it's important to remember that flinging Heartfire Hero, or really flinging any card in our deck that's been pumped up, is very powerful. But those are the interesting play patterns and nuances in red-green aggro in Pioneer. If you have any more, please leave them in the comments. And if you like this video, please be sure to like and subscribe. Check me out on social media. Links are above me and in the description. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.